Okay, I'm going to show you all the tools that are convenient for installing Chromaglow Pro. Let's start off with the track related tools. Obviously, we're going to need an impact drill with a hex head bit on the end for attaching the tracks to the building. You also want a speed square for making our lines on here, and we can get nice straight lines on our cuts. So I have a small speed square. You can get the larger one as well, but the small one will work just fine. If you do happen to ding the track a little bit, it's good to have one of these paint touch-up markers in white or black with you, so that if you do make a mark on it, you can just paint over top of it and it looks nice and clean. So we've got our pencil, of course, and sometimes you need to add a little bit of muscle to move the track where you want it to be. So a rubber mallet is nice. You can get white ones as well, which are non-marking. For cutting the track, there are two types of cutters that you're gonna need. And I recommend getting high quality ones of these. One is for making left cuts and another one for making right cuts. And you'll notice that the blades are oriented in opposite sides here, so that when I make a cut, the part that bends away is the blade that's on top. So if I want to discard the piece in front of me here, I would use the right cut here, and you can see how it just bent away. That's the one we're going to toss, and the one that is stayed nice and straight is obviously the side that we're going to keep. So you use the appropriate cutters depending on which side of the track you need to get rid of. And then you're not having to bend back track all the time, and it saves a lot of time. Sometimes we want to bend away pieces to get nice straight edges. And so a set of linesman pliers for bending the track back and forth or straightening the edges a little bit afterwards is helpful. I put a little bit of electrical tape on it just because it marks up the track less and it just pads it while still being able to bend the track around. So linesman pliers. Of course, you can't get much done without a flathead screwdriver or get a multi-tool. I like to use these hooks as well for pulling away soffit. Sometimes there's little holes in the soffit. You can put this inside and pull it away to manipulate the soffit so you're able to run the wire. Vinyl siding remover tool is also helpful. This is simply can just be pushed up underneath the soffit to be able to pull away and help you be able to remove that soffit without damaging it. For holding the tracks in place, sometimes you're working in precarious places. I'll often use a set of large spring clamps. This is 7 inches, and you can hold the track in place with these while you're using 2 hands, one for drilling and the other one for maybe holding the ladder, so that you feel more safe on it as well. So 7-inch spring clamps, or the largest spring clamps that you can find, are really helpful. Of course, measuring tape is going to be useful. Now for the electrical side, we need to often run wire behind walls, and there's a couple ways you can do that. You can use one of these wire fishing rods. So basically just drill a hole in the wall and then you could push the wire through it with one of these, or get fancy and use a magnetic version of it. And there's a really strong magnet on it. And so you would attach a string to one side of this, and then you would put this inside the wall, and you can actually use this on the outside of the wall to fish this down or up, and you can see just how strong that is, and it will easily magnetize through, like, 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch drywall. So that's really useful for running wire behind walls. Now for the wire itself, so you're obviously going to need your wire cutters, and to strip the wire, there's 2 types of wire we want to strip. This is the round wire, which has a UV protection on the outside, which can be exposed. And in order to get at the inner side wires, you can use one of these stripper tools. So you basically just put it around, and then you can pull that off without damaging the wire inside. Okay, I'll show you how we can strip this with one of these wire strippers. This is my favorite one, and how it works is you basically just put one wire at a time with a round wire, and you can strip it off like this. You can also, sometimes you can do 2 at a time, and it does a pretty good job as well. Now, this wire stripping tool also works really great with our flat wire, and so I can place that inside, and it pulls it apart nice and clean. Now, before I spread those apart on the inside, I can strip all 3 of them because it's flat wire. So it makes it really quick when we go to put on our quick connectors. Now for quick connectors, it's important to keep the orientation correct so that we match red to red. So quite often what I'll do is I'll have a permanent marker and I'll mark one side of it with a marker, and I'll be okay, that's my black side. So I'll put the black side, making sure that it's lined up here. And then of course, when I go to put the other wire in, I'll make sure that I've got the black wire matched up with my marked side as well. So that when I go to put this in, I didn't mistakenly put the incorrect orientation, and it just reduces mistakes. So a permanent marker is handy there as well. And then of course, the cable ties are important as well for attaching wire to places and making sure that they're fixed. I keep black and white ones with me at all times. And then last thing is the dielectric grease. This is important to put a little bit of dielectric grease on all the connectors so that if a bit of moisture gets on them or water, it just keeps them lasting longer without any connection issues. And so usually what I'll do is just pump a little bit in each one and then pop these inside, and it keeps it nice and clean. So these are all the tools that are going to make the Chromaglow installation a lot easier. There's not that many. You can carry it all on a single tool belt so that you're not having to go up and down the ladder for tools all the time. And it makes this installation very straightforward and fast.